Hey everybody, welcome to episode 174 of NoDQ&A video right here on youtube.com/NoDQ&AV, and as always, NoDQ.com. I am the owner of NoDQ and Rift, complete with the bum beard. That's right. Got a lot of questions here, so you know the drill. Let's get right down to it. What did you think of the highlight reel promo by Chris Jericho? This is from iRockBry. The so-called return of Y2J. It is a shame that he's leaving to go back to work with Fozzy, but would you say it would be nice to see the old Y2J back again in action? I thought it was a great promo by Chris Jericho. I'm very happy to see the old Y2J character back again. I think the timing is right to bring back that character. Chris Jericho had a tremendous run from 2008 to 2010, doing the serious heel gimmick with the suit and all that stuff. And then he came back this year. He did the Jericho gimmick, and it didn't really get over to the degree that people were expecting or hoping for. But the fact is, Chris Jericho came back to help put over the new talent. He put over CM Punk. They had a tremendous feud. And Chris Jericho, he doesn't need to be in the spotlight in WWE 24/7. He's got other projects like Fozzy. His purpose now is to help put over some of the younger talent, and I think he really enjoys doing that. Otherwise, he would just stay away. He would do other things. But he keeps coming back, and he wants to give back to the business. And I think that's really cool. And he's got this feud coming up with Dolph Ziggler, the match at SummerSlam. And perhaps we'll see that feud continue in 2013. And hopefully we'll get to see more of Y2J, because he's extremely entertaining playing that character. But he's extremely entertaining doing anything. So hopefully we'll see him back sooner than later, definitely. This is from Richie Cola. I think that's how you pronounce it. I apologize if I'm wrong. Hey Aaron, your show is awesome. If Andrew Martin Test would have not passed away and stayed in WWE, do you think he would have been a champion? Would he have had a championship opportunity and had a major role today? Your thoughts? Probably not. I think that I've mentioned this before regarding Test, Andrew Martin. I think that back in 1999 when he was doing the whole storyline with Shane McMahon and Stephanie, that was the point where I really felt he had a good chance of breaking out and becoming a major star, but they kind of gave up on him, and he went into a tag team with Albert, Test and Albert, TNA, whatever. And he just, from that point on, remained a mid-card act. And WWE brought him back in 2006 to be part of ECW. And I don't think they ever had any big plans for him. I think they were just bringing him back so they could have another big guy on the roster that they could use in a mid-card position. So I don't think he was going to be at that top level. I just didn't see it happening. Hey Aaron, if WWE is supposedly trying to negotiate a contract extension with Brock Lesnar, do you think he will get a title run so he'll want to stick around? I don't think Brock Lesnar gives a damn about a title run. There's two things that Brock Lesnar wants. Number one is the moolah, and number two is the limited schedule. Brock Lesnar does not want to travel, and the main reason he came back to WWE was because they gave him a light schedule where he only has to work 30 days a year. So if WWE makes him the right offer, they offer him another light schedule, and they give him the big bucks, I think it's possible that we could see Brock Lesnar for another year in WWE. It depends on what WWE wants to do. I mean, they might just want to move on to something else. You know, they signed Goldberg to a one-year contract back in 2003, and when that was up, they decided to move on. So it could just be they wanted to capitalize on Brock Lesnar's UFC run and bring him back when he was fresh off UFC. And after WrestleMania 29, they might feel that they got everything out of him they could possibly get. So we'll see. This is from Nikki Sturzu. What's your opinion on The Marine, both of them, Damage, and other movies with WWE superstars? I have not seen the second Marine. The first Marine, I mean, it was okay for a low-budget, knockoff action movie, generic action movie. It was okay. As for Steve Austin's movie, I think Damage was the one where he was the MMA fighter. He was doing the fights the back alleys or whatever. Not sure which one. I've seen all of Austin's films. I've watched all of his films that he's done on Netflix, and I mean, I think they're okay. They're okay for what they are. They're low budget action movies, with Steve Austin playing basically the same role in every movie. He's this tough guy, or ex-cop or ex-Navy guy who has to get revenge. Somebody screwed him over and he's got to get his payback. I would like to see Steve Austin maybe do some more diverse roles. I would like to see him... the thing is, the problem I have with a lot of these wrestlers in movies is that their characters in the movies are too much like their wrestling personalities. In every movie, I feel like I'm just watching Steve Austin. I mean, he has the bald head, the goatee. They don't change up his look at all. I would like to see Steve Austin in a movie where he's playing a different type of character. Maybe grow out his hair or do something other than a tough guy role. Obviously, not WWE, but the movie companies, they're trying to capitalize on Steve Austin and market him. When you see Steve Austin on the cover for the movie and he's got the bald head and the goatee, that's where they're getting their value out of Steve Austin, because people might buy that because they see Stone Cold Steve Austin on the cover. But hopefully Steve Austin will be able to do a bigger variety of roles in the future, and he definitely has a lot of talent. I mean, he always does his roles well, and he's a good performer, hard worker. So yeah, I hope he'll continue to expand the type of roles that he does. Hey Aaron, do you think Sheamus will turn heel in 2013? I think it's unlikely at this point. I think that WWE's really pushing Sheamus hard as their top babyface. I mean, even above Randy Orton on SmackDown right now. And with Randy Orton's 2 strikes, I think that they're going to want to focus on Sheamus as their top babyface for the time being, just in case something happens with Randy Orton. I suppose if they have a shortage of heels, that they could always turn Sheamus, but I think right now it's well balanced, and I just don't see the need to turn him yet. I think he's doing really well as a babyface, and he's got a lot of momentum, so I think he'll stay babyface at least for another year or two, and then at that point they can turn him depending on the situation. This is another question from Nikki Sturzu. With Bobby Roode now without a rematch, who do you see challenging for the world title at No Surrender? Or do you see Roode still getting a rematch? If you can, please answer on video. Thanks. Well, the way that they did it at Hardcore Justice, obviously it seems to be building up to some sort of rematch, even though the stipulation was that there would be no rematch. But, the match ended in controversy, so... the original plan in TNA was to have, obviously, Bobby Roode versus James Storm, have James Storm finally get his win over Bobby Roode. But then they had Austin Aries win the title. So I could very well see one more match at No Surrender with Bobby Roode winning it, and then James Storm wins the Bound for Glory series, and then they go ahead with their original plan. But who knows? Perhaps they've decided to go in a different direction. But I think after Thursday's Impact, we'll have a better idea of which direction TNA is going and heading into their so-called biggest show of the year. Given that there are a few managers in use, why does Sin Cara not have one? If any star needs a different person on the mic, surely it's one that can't cut a promo for the largest portion of the audience. Well, that last sentence that you just said there definitely applied to wrestling back in the day, back from the 1990s and before that. But things have changed, and Vince McMahon is not high on managers. He thinks it's too old-fashioned, and usually you don't make a babyface character someone who has a manager. I mean, Sin Cara, he's a guy wearing the mask, and he does flashy moves, and I think that's enough to get him over with the audience. I mean, you have people wearing Sin Cara masks. And it's the moves that he does that gets him over, and sometimes the botches that makes him infamous. But yeah, I mean, he doesn't really need to talk on the mic. I mean, I think the action speaks for itself. If you're gonna give somebody a manager, you want to give a heel character, because the heels don't do all the flashy moves that the baby faces do. So they need to be able to talk and get the heel heat. So that's where you would benefit from having a manager. But yeah, there's not really a few managers in use, especially with AEW gone, and I don't see WWE really expanding their roster of managers anytime in the near future. Just don't see it happening. All right, that'll wrap it up for this edition of No DQ&A video. Subscribe, youtube.com/NoDQCW. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com for SummerSlam coverage. I'll be there at the Staples Center this Sunday. I'll be tweeting, so make sure you follow NoDQ.com on Twitter, twitter.com/NoDQDOTCOM. I'll be tweeting about the show as it's happening, give you my live perspective on the pay-per-view. So stay tuned for that, and I'll see you next time for episode 175 of No DQ&A video.